और ये हमारा आखिरी पैनल है और जनाब अयूब गौरी साहब फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट हॉल प्लीज तशरीफ लाएं और सरदार अली साहब सैयद सरदार अली साहब से भी दरख्वास्त है कि वो स्टेज पे तशरीफ ले आएं। ये हमारे आज के आखिरी 3 स्पीकर हैं। मुझे इस बात की बड़ी खुशी है कि in spite of the fact that people have given their views here and it has been a long session today, but the people are still sitting and listening to the issues and to the remedies of how Pakistan can grow out of it. शबर सैदी साहब ने डराया भी और उम्मीद भी दिलाई है। तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि हम जिस गड्ढे में गिरे हैं उस गड्ढे से खुद ही निकलेंगे। मैं अब उस सेक्टर से जनाब जफर मसूद साहब को दावत दूंगा कि जो कि बैंकिंग सेक्टर है, क्योंकि बैंकिंग भी एक बहुत बड़ा हमारा सेक्टर है जिससे इकॉनमी इर्द गिर्द उसके घूमती है। तो मैं जफर साहब से दरख्वास्त करूंगा तो ठीक है।
जी बहुत शुक्रिया सुहेल साहब। बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग टाइम पे आपने ये हमारा सेशन रखा है, स्पेशली मुझे बुलाया। 2 वजूहात की वजह से। एक तो ये कि जो हमसे पहले अभी स्पीकर्स थे उन्होंने जिस किस्म की गुफ्तगू की,
प्लीज जरा खामोशी इख्तियार कीजिएगा। जैसे आप पहले बड़े नाक से सुन रहे थे, दोबारा से जरा वही खामोशी इख्तियार।
मुश्किल होगा वैसे अब अटेंशन सीख करना आफ्टर you know what happened in the last session. खास तौर से शब्बर भाई के बाद बोलना जो है वो एक बहुत ही मुश्किल अमल है। और दूसरा ये कि आप लोग सब खाने का वेट कर रहे हैं। मेरी कोशिश ये होगी बहुत जल्दी इसको मैं रैप अप करूं। अनफॉर्चुनेटली मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन जो है वो उतनी मसालेदार नहीं है जितनी शब्बर भाई की थी या उससे पहले थी। It's very clinical and very operational type. But I'll try and put some masala in it so that, you know, some excitement is there before the food. At the outset, it would be very unfair if I commence my talk without mentioning about the worst natural disaster we have ever experienced in our beloved country. In fact, if anything, it may have far-reaching effects on the evolution of social, political, economic order and its future on Pakistan, which happens to be the headline topic of our conference today. The damage caused by the floods on the economy and livelihood will be significantly higher than the floods in 2010. We are likely to see GDP growth slowing down further to around 2%, if not lower. Latest number I saw was 1.5%, and nearly 10 million households at risk of falling into the extreme poverty. And this is a very concerning development. Even before the floods, the economy was on the brink of another full-blown balance of payment crisis. The sharp increase in global commodity prices and the flight of capital towards the US dollar has created difficult global economic conditions for all emerging markets. Being an import-dependent economy, Pakistan is bearing the brunt of worsening global economic conditions through widening trade deficits and record high inflation. Just to put some, इसके अंदर आपके attention के लिए ये बड़ी interesting चीज एक develop हो रही है अभी जो हम देख रहे हैं कि while there is a physical war going on in Ukraine and Russia, but there is simultaneously, and I call it a hybrid war, an economic war which has emerged as well. So on one hand, Russia is pushing countries to accept ruble as the currency of trade, particularly on the energy side. But on the other hand, US is also trying hard and increasing the interest rates to the highest levels that have never been there before. And we saw that the interest rates have gone up to 3.25% on US bonds, which is one of the highest in decades. So all that has been done is to make sure that the flight of capital is still going towards West rather than, towards the Russia. And I think this is a defining moment in many ways for the global economy, and particularly a country like ours. These are challenging times for our valued clients. With the rising cost of doing business and delays in the processing of import letters of credit, the banks are working hard to ensure that the needs of their clients are fulfilled and their cash flow working capital requirements are fully met. The good news is that the bank, खास तौर से to absorb any shocks that could come their way. I would also like to acknowledge the national spirit of our great nation. Despite difficult economic realities, they have again stepped up at the time of need. And the kudos goes to all of you. The response of the government, civil society, and private sector is beyond expectation. We at the Bank of Punjab were also at the forefront and witnessed how the society has contributed overall towards the money side. But to be honest, it's not just the money alone. I don't think money is the issue or the address to this crisis. It's the skill set. It's the number of people who has to be involved there in terms of reconstruction and rehabilitation. I was asked to remark on how can banking be made more effective for the business community. And I'm titling it, It Takes Two Hands to Clap. And I will cover various constituencies in this context and then share my conclusion at the end. I will start out with the most important constituency of engagement between banks and businesses. Today's event is one of those initiatives. Customer engagement, knowing the specific needs of the client, target clientele, and tailoring solutions for those needs to create a relationship and foster brand loyalty has always been one of the foremost priorities of financial institutions or any front-end business for that matter. Therefore, re-evaluation of customer outreach and marketing needs a paradigm shift. The key areas of focus in this domain could be proactivity in the provision of tailor-made solutions and services and use of analytics to help customers in a more personal way. I will leave the topic of digitization to Ayub Saab. He is much more competent and capable to cover that. I will just touch upon them because that's such an integral part that we can't divorce ourselves from this kind of discussion, especially the engagement piece. The state of flux that we are in should be taken as a blessing in disguise. And data analytics is the answer to this situation. The second thing is that there has to be omni-channel or multi-channel experience, whereby we should offer all the modes of communication to our customers and make sure that there is a proper synergy between them. Communication is next invaluable component of this equation. Customer's channel of choice, albeit it digital or otherwise, providing customers the opportunity to engage in a seamless interaction which may go beyond all conventional deals. And most importantly, in the domain of communication, and this is my favorite topic really, empathy and authenticity are paramount. Engagement with clients should be focused on their needs, financial stability and wellness, as opposed to the financial institution's desire for product sales and directions, which exude an air of consistency and genuineness. Now, I had a presentation, made a presentation to the Marketing Association of Pakistan. And the topic was that if you want to be a good marketeer, you have to be a good human being. I genuinely believe in this notion. If you really want to make an impact, if you want to be a good marketeer, a good businessman, you have to be a good human being. And empathy and authenticity is the key there. Furthermore, another key component of deepening the relationship between banks and business community revolves around transparency. Very important. With respect to the cost in particular and the provision of information in general. Transparency is vital in facilitating accountability, in projecting a customer-centric approach, and in enabling us clients to make informed decisions about their needs and who can best serve them. It is an extension of being upfront and genuine. In this way, banks will be forthcoming with their clients regarding their own strategies and their approval processes and clear and open, timely manner. Transparency and close communication, however, must swing both ways. It is incumbent on business clients to be open and communicative with their banking partners as well. You may be familiar with the old adage, which I have modified slightly. The three professionals in your life with whom you should not hide anything now include your lawyer, your doctor, and your banker. And unfortunately, we hide things from all these three of them, and including the tax man as well. Insofar as the structural changes and I would like to see within the banking sector over time to service you all better. These are three core aspects that I would like to address in this context. Firstly, the share of private sector credit shall increase and reduce reliance on financing the dominant borrower, the government of Pakistan. While credit to the private sector in Pakistan has increased in absolute terms, but it's gone down substantially in the percentage terms of GDP from 29% to 17% in the last decade. And the biggest impediment in that context has been the dominant borrowers' funding requirements, which swelled 400% during the same period. The other aspect is the large informal sector, which Shabar Bhai also covered. Second one is the constitution of the banking sector. Now, this is something that I would like to share with you that, when I was on the board of State Bank of Pakistan, I presented a paper on how the constitution of the banking sector needs to be changed in order to make it more funding available for those sectors which require more attention for financial inclusion and future growth. हमने सुना अभी एग्रीकल्चर के बारे में भी, और उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बहुत जरूरी था कि हम इस तरह की कोई थॉट प्रोसेस लेके आते। इसमें जो सिचुएशन है वो ये कि हमारी जो बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री है वो बहुत लॉपसाइडेड है, और जो 70 से 80% डिपॉजिट्स हैं या एसेट्स हैं वो सारे के सारे कन्फाइंड हैं टू अ हैंड फ्यू बैंक्स। शबर भाई, जो मुल्क का हाल है वही बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री का भी हाल है। बाय द वे, सब ने हाथ में वो पकड़ा हुआ है 70-80% एसेट्स जो उनके पास ही है, एंड देयरफॉर वो ही ड्राइव करते हैं पूरी एजेंडा ऑफ द सेक्टर, एंड दिस रिक्वायर्स अ पैराडाइम शिफ्ट फॉर श्योर, and therefore a broad-based funding could be diverted to more desired and unconventional sectors like agriculture, infrastructure. Ayub sahab yahan baithe hain. Obviously the IT is the future, startup is the future, that also require that fair share. And the banking itself is a very basic thing. It's all about access to cheaper funding. That's it. There's no rocket science in there. But the access to diversion of the cheaper funding is the key. And it is very important that the programs like E-Kisan, which was introduced in Punjab, and Kamyab Pakistan, which was introduced in the federal government, are to be thought through, and the regulatory environment needs to be changed to make sure that the funding goes in that direction. On the topic of shifting models, one more that would be pertinent to note, it would be in the context, would be a shift from collateral. I know this is something also very close to your heart, to asset-based lending to cash flow. through cash flows. Now, on the cash flow side, what we see is that, without getting into the nitty-gritties of how it works, the important thing is that, for asset-thin businesses, and in this context, particularly, I would like to refer the startups, which helps in promoting creativity, which is the future for the economic growth. It's very important that the banks are trained and push towards cash flow banking rather than asset-based financing. And that's a very important area to focus on. The other one is the specialized banking. I think we seriously lack in banking how the specialization should be achieved in different sectors. Because unless you have that specialization in you, you will not be able to deliver on the client's needs, at least not in the way it was supposed to be delivered. Therefore, I will just go to the end. In summation, I believe that enhancing the effectiveness with which the banking industry can serve the business community can be done in myriad ways, some of which include heightened customer engagement using data analytics, digital omni-channel platforms, and interoperable services. Naturally, the landscape of the industry would, in my opinion, benefit from certain structural changes, including increase the share of private sector and change the constitution of the sector, and moving from a collateral to cash flow based lending, and specifically focusing on specialized banking and developing industry level expertise. At the end, मुझे जरा यहाँ आपकी attention चाहिए होगी, ये बहुत important message है जो मैं आपसे share करना चाह रहा हूँ. At the end, let me conclude with the statement that there is a change in mindset desperately needed in our society. I think the speakers before me also talked about it. Shabar bhai ne us pe baat ki, Dr. Shad ne baat ki. The same is required as far as the banking and businesses are concerned as well. Change in mindset that making money is not a bad thing. Let me just repeat this again. Changing in mindset that making money is not a bad thing. In fact, if anything, it's a good thing as long as it's done, of course, in a legit way, with fairness and with the agenda of trickle-down effect and inclusivity in the economy. If we look at our religion and the Muslim history, something very revealing comes up. At least it was a real eye-opener for me when I came across it. In the book, Shabar bhai, मैंने आपको शायद ये किताब भेजी भी थी. In the book, Early Islam and the Births of Capitalism, of the famous author and biography in histories, Benedict Kola, claims that I read his words in verbatim from his book only. Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Islam's founder, was proud of his descent from Arabs' most respected tribe, the Quraysh, who owed their standing to success in business rather than in battle. Success in business rather than in battle. Muhammad, even at the peak of his career, was pleased when he heard praises for his own financial accomplishments. He smiled when his deputy, Abu Sufyan ibn Harb, complimented him. You have become the most wealthy of the Quraysh. Abu Sufyan's fawning accolade was not empty flattery. Far from it, in fact, because Muhammad by then earned annual rents exceeding 10,000 ounces of gold. In today's terms, commensurate with millions of dollars, Muhammad was the richest Arab of his time. We need to sink in that
ख़वातीन और हज़रात, यहाँ आपने पहले बड़े
थोड़ा सा
सुनी है,
हमें
अब
जो है ना
आखिरी
वो
सिर्फ
थोड़ी ओपन माइंडेडनेस जो है ना उसकी ज़रूरत एज अ सोसाइटी है और एज अ गवर्नमेंट भी है। तो अगर हम तो नैरेटिव ये बनाएंगे कि ये जो हमारे बिजनेस लीडर्स हैं, आई एम कन्फाइनिंग इट टू द बिजनेस लीडर्स ओनली, ये सारे के सारे जो पैसे बना रहे हैं वो परहैप्स उन उसमें कुछ गड़बड़ है, तो फिर हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा मसला हो जाएगा उनकी अपनी क्रेडिबिलिटी को आगे ले जाने में और उनकी एक स्टैंडिंग को बेहतर करने में कि जहां वो जाके मुल्क के बिहाफ पे कुछ पिच कर सके। और तो एक तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हमें ओपन माइंडेडनेस के साथ ये चीज़ एक्सेप्ट करनी पड़ेगी कि जो हमारे लोग बिजनेस लीडर्स हैं, दे आर डूइंग अ गुड जॉब, दे आर ऑल्सो पेट्रियट्स एंड वी हैव टू गिव देम दैट रिस्पेक्ट एंड दैट स्टैचर। दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि हमारे बिजनेसमैन को भी ज़रा थोड़ा सा, ये तो एक साइड सोसाइटी हो गई और गवर्नमेंट हो गई, दूसरी तरफ जो हमारे बिजनेसमैन हैं उनको भी ज़रा थोड़ा सा अपने बॉटम लाइन अप्रोच से बढ़ के एक लार्जर इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द सोसाइटी को, कंट्री को देखना पड़ेगा। और मैं हमेशा ये कहता हूँ, बल्कि मेरा एक आर्टिकल भी है लिटरेचर एंड इकोनॉमी के ऊपर, जिसमें मैंने कहा है कि आप जो काम ये कर रहे हैं बियॉन्ड योर बॉटम लाइन कंसिडरेशंस, वो आप अपने जहन में प्लीज ये बड़ा क्लियर करके रखें कि वो काम आप कर रहे हैं फॉर फ्यूचर जनरेशंस, बाय प्रमोटिंग आर्ट एंड कल्चर एंड दोज एथिक्स। आप अपने ही बिजनेस को एक सस्टेनेबल फ्यूचर की तरफ लेके जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि आप जो जनरेशन बना रहे हैं वही आपके बिजनेस को आगे लेके चलेगी और डिलीवर करेगी। तो लिहाजा दोनों तरफ से एक गैप की जरूरत है। और जो तीसरा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है वो ये कि हमारे यहाँ स्केल बहुत छोटा है, हमें अपने बिजनेसेस के स्केल बढ़ाने पड़ेंगे और हमें वो स्केल जो है वो बढ़ाने के लिए जो भी एफर्ट्स करनी पड़े वो हमें करनी चाहिए। बिजनेसेस को भी आपस में करनी चाहिए, बिजनेस को कोलैबोरेट भी करना चाहिए, सबको मिलके चलना चाहिए। मैं अभी मेरी बात हो रही थी इकराम सहगल साहब से इसी पे वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम पे, तो वो मुझे बता रहे थे कि जो वहाँ पर $15 मिलियन खर्च करता है हर साल इंडिया ऑन वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम की एक्टिविटीज़ पे, जिसमें से $7.5 मिलियन जो है वो गवर्नमेंट देती है और $7.5 मिलियन उनके चेंबर ऑफ कॉमर्स रेज करती है। वी शुड फॉलो द सेम मॉडल एज वेल। हमारे बिजनेसेस को स्केल बनाने के लिए परहैप्स कोलैबोरेट करना चाहिए और साथ मिलके एक लार्ज स्केल, लार्जर देन लाइफ प्रेजेंटेशन देनी चाहिए अबाउट पाकिस्तान। देयर आर सो मेनी पॉजिटिव थिंग्स अबाउट पाकिस्तान व्हिच नोबडी नोज। You saw that yesterday when we presented, financial inclusion space पे हमने क्या किया है and what is expected other people to do, what the other people are doing as well as an industry, as a country. The people were surprised. People were stunned. They could not believe that so much work has been done or is being done in this space. The fact of the matter ये है कि those people are only aware about the negativities of Pakistan because we are the one who project those negativities. We have to project. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आप हमारी सारी जो बुराइयां उसके ऊपर पर्दा डाल दें, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि आप साथ साथ हमारी अच्छी बातें बताएं। हमारी कुछ अच्छी बातें भी हैं और कुछ बुरी बातें भी हैं। हम इतने बुरे लोग नहीं हैं जितना हम अपने आप को खुद कर लेते हैं।